What's going on, Airsofters? This is Deranged Professor, and looking at today a very special piece that I've designed. This is the Deranged Handguard for the PTS Masada. I've had this on my list of things that I someday would like to make for years, and a lot of people have been requesting for us to make one. There's a lot of options out there as far as real ACR guards go, but they're several $100s to pick up. And if you're looking at Airsoft versions, there's really only there's still quite a few. You have the MSK rail, you have if you can find the tri-rail, the real size polymer guard, the longer polymer guard, but those are all becoming increasingly more difficult to find, and also use an older style of mechanism for retaining your rails or your grips and flashlight mounts, things like that. So this is what I have designed. This is the Deranged Masada Handguard, and it is 3D printed and 3D in the polymer that we use for all of our stuff. It has a really nice rigidity to it. This extra piece up on top here that matches up with your actual upper receiver of the Masada really gives this front end a lot of strength. It's really strong. So it really feels nice and solid on the gun, and there's really not much like twisting that it does. But it does have a little bit of flex, which is a good thing, but not too much. It actually still, once it's on the gun, it actually feels very solid on there, and you actually forget that it's made in polymer. It sports our nice deranged skull logo on either side, so that way you know and other people know that, hey, we made this. It is compatible with the original pin for the original polymer guard. Fits nice and flush once it's in there. Even uses the original retaining pin. And when I designed it to where this is all inset in the material now, so it doesn't go all the way through like on the old polymer ones. You'd actually have this part snap off because it went all the way through. So this does not do that. And it adds for more strength to the part when you're pushing the pin in and out. This, when you use the original polymer one, that actually sticks out a little bit, so it makes it very easy when you're trying to remove it. If you use, although this is sized actually for a regular size body pin, so if you use or have a regular size body pin laying around, you put it in, it will sit flush on this side and it will sit flush on this side. Or if you're using a tri-rail, if you take the tri-rail pin, which is the same size as a regular body pin, it will do the same thing. So you can make it sit nice and flush, and it doesn't stick out at all. And that's probably what I'm going to end up doing with this one. But for testing, I just use the regular one. And it pops in and out nice and easy, and done. If you are like me and you actually had purchased a real ACR handguard, and you've dremeled out your trunnion to accept the real Bushmaster size pin and retaining system, this has already got the hole for the retention system. All you'll have to do is just drill out this hole inside of here to 1/4 of an inch, just like you did on the trunnion. But you could still use the original ACR pin with this also as an option, the real one. This is all MLOK sizing. So any MLOK accessory, like we have the Vendetta Precision hand stop here, the VP24, will fit into these slots. So, and it's on the 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 3 o'clock segment, and then there's the one MLOK section up here on top. And those all accept any MLOK accessory. So this is a Magpul Cantilever mount that will go right in, and you can lock it in place. You can also kind of do them in halves, so if you don't want to position all of it in one, you can actually go in between the two and still mount whatever you want. So making it really nice to use new modern accessories on your rail if you would so choose. Even if you're using MO stuff and you have the MO adapter to MLOK, that will work in this. I have actually put like the MO piece inside of here, and it sits in there perfectly, and you can tighten it down, and it holds really well. The finish on this is just like our other finished parts. There's a little bit of texturing to it just because of the way that it's made. which actually feels really comfortable and gives you a pretty decent grip when you're holding it, even with gloves. It's really not, it doesn't slide very easily. It gives you a nice firm grip to it. I also put in the holes also for you to use a screw if you wanted to screw it to the upper receiver using the original factory screw holes that are there. You can do so for the extra strength, but it does. I will personally probably put it on mine just because it is polymer. For the way that it retains inside these little wings here, I don't know if you can see that well on the video there. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, this little wing here actually helps to hold it in place so that this doesn't flex out away from the upper receiver. It stays nice and tight in there. Kind of a little trick that we learned when we were helping Nexus when they were building the Nexus polymer guard for the PTS Masada and real ACR at the time. But that piece is there really only on this just to help with keeping it situated on the upper receiver, and then you can see the wings kind of better. So that way it goes in right nice and tight and sits tight also. This is very lightweight. It's also very narrow. Like you can see here where the trunnion sits, like it's cut up really high. This allows you to really get a good grip, and you can still do thumb overboard very easily with this because it sits up nice and high. However, if you are running AEG and you need to run batteries, this will make it a little bit more difficult for you to try to figure out where you're going to place a battery, what size of batteries. You may have to be a little creative in figuring out how you're going to lay it out in there, but we still can get batteries into the Masada. Let me grab a battery here. I am still able to get this 7.4 1200 milliamp stick battery in there. I have to basically not put it in here. It doesn't go in between the rail and it. It actually goes in between the barrel and the fake piston that moves back and forth. So where I actually was putting it or fit it is right in here. You can actually just kind of squeeze it in just like that, and then you can install this handguard and it will still run as an AEG. However, it makes it a lot more difficult when you're trying to change out batteries, but if you use those split type, really thin split type batteries, you can tuck it under and above. You just may have to remove the actual handle on your barrel here, but there are ways to do it. There is another one that I have, a polymer one that's a guard that I'm working on that is the same style as this, but this section drops down and gives you more room for batteries. And you'll see that on the Shapeways store open so you can see it, but it's not quite yet there for me to open it up for you guys to purchase yet. How does this look in comparison to some of the other handguards, like the original? So here's the stock polymer guard that you get on the Masada, and then this guard. So, and you can see the big difference in sizing on these two. One is very narrow, sleek. The other one is still the original type of style. If you compare it to the real size, longer one, now we're looking a little bit closer to the same. This one's still a little bit longer top to bottom than this guard, but it still looks really nice. One of my favorites, the Argonaut, or not, this is not Argonauts, this is the Clandestine Rail, which I've been running forever. You can see the shapes there, and also kind of here when you're looking at thickness, top to bottom. There, the Clandestine is a little bit thicker and also has a round type shape to it, whereas this one is a little bit more squared off. And then last but not least, the RPM handguard. This is a short version. These two are very similar and have very, very much close to the same profile. You can see like thickness too. They're very close in thickness. This is a really, really awesome handguard. This is one of my favorites also. But I really, really like this, and I like the way it looks on the gun. It goes on just as easy as any of the other handguards. I'm gonna grab my gun here. So this is my old trusty Masada. Put it on just like the others. Slides right on, and it sits nice and flush. Pin goes through, and you're done. And you can see how nice that tucks up right against to that upper receiver there. And it's on there. It's not going anywhere. So, looks great. Gives the gun a really nice profile and look, especially on the front up here. Kind of covers up some of that gas block. And I don't know if you can see through there. See that green in that hole there? That is a stabilizer. This still works with our stabilizers, so no modification needed. You can put it right on and it doesn't interfere with the stabilizers at all. And here's a top-down profile of the gun. So you can see it's very narrow, sits very close to the rail, to the actual gun, and it actually gives you, like, it's very easy to make that C-type grip on this. Because of how thin it is, especially like up front here. It's very easy to grab a hold of. And this is actually something I found like later on, it felt really comfortable to kind of grab it right here with your kind of finger above. With the real one, that would get very hot very quickly, but it feels really good. So check it out on the Shapeways store. Let me know what you think. Obviously, these are more expensive because of the 3D printing, and 3D printing is such a large item. They're not gonna, you're not gonna see this for $50. But I've tried to keep it as close and as minimal of a cost to you as possible, so that way you can purchase one of these. I still am looking at possibly getting some metal ones made. And if you know any machine shops that some custom parts, make sure to let me know. You can message me and DM them, because I'm looking for some quotes and looking for someone to try to maybe help us out and maybe see if we can get these made in metal. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're interested. I know there's been quite a bit of interest from quite a few people about getting something like this for the ACR, for the Masada. I think it looks awesome. I'm very, very happy with this style and design. And who would have thought, that eventually I would have made a handguard for the Masada. So let me know what you think. This is Deranged Professor with Deranged Airsoft, and I'll see you guys out on the battlefield.